Hello and welcome to Let's Play City Skylines with Lucky Rat. So we are in the next part of making our beautiful city. We are going to be betraying Des Moines today. Um, and you'll see why later. But that's not important. What is important is that our city is doing well. Um, it's growing. We have a nice industry for timber. Everyone seems to be happy. Land value is doing good. We're well educated. We have this beautiful church in the middle of the city for anyone who wants to go to church. So that's quite nice. So last time we added more to the city. We worked out the industries area. We attempted to fix traffic, and we attempted to add a freeway, both of which failed horribly. So we're going to be doing a few things here in our wonderful city. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to add an extension here over the river. And that's just going to go ahead and connect over, because we haven't used this side of the land hardly at all. We've kept it to the west bank of the river. And so we're going to be using this nice wide open space to plant a fun little area for our city. It's a little bit of a betrayal to the way of Des Moines. But again, I'll explain once we get there. The first thing that I'm trying to do is figure out, okay, I kind of want to place this road here, but the problem is because the incline of the slope of the area, it just kind of wants to build up. And I don't want the road to build upward like that. I want it to just lay flat on the land, you know. So I kind of say, okay, maybe I won't do it on that area. I'll build it over here. And bam, here we go. We have real American football. Real football. Which is quite nice. But it also says, no, it's too slopey. I can't be placed here. Don't try and place me here. I can't do it. So what we're going to do is just flatten it out so we can put it down. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm noticing that the brush size is way too small. So I go ahead and increase it and just really carve into this mountain over here. I then go ahead and sort of remove a little piece of the road, because I'm not sure if once you place a road, it doesn't seem like the level tool can work on the road that you've already placed. So I just delete it, replace it. It's all good. Lots of money. So here we go. I'm just placing this in. Bam! So it's US Bank Stadium is the one I found. Because although we're building Des Moines, I live in Minneapolis. So for the Vikings to be my team, that's what I want. So shout outs to the person who built this asset. If you go into your Steam workshop or whatever it might be, and just do a search for US Bank Stadium, you can also have one for your own. I do need to hook up some water and give it electricity. Now, unlike some of the other things in this game, it basically registers as a giant park, which means we can't actually have football games. You know, with the soccer stadium, you can make money by having games played and people come buy tickets or whatever. You can't actually do that with this. You know, it's just seen as a park asset, but I don't really care. You know, if we make profit off of it or not. I just want it inner city because we need to have a nice team. So there's a logo in here that I can add as well, but I'm having a weird thing where the brush is not going away when I'm selecting an asset. It's just kind of sticking there. So I kind of give up on it because, you know, the stadium looks great as is. It's really quite true to the actual stadium itself that's in Minneapolis. So now we have football in our wonderful city. So last time we also leveled up our timber industry to 2 stars. So that gives us access to some new buildings that we're going to want to take advantage of as well. But before we do that, there's a little bit of things I need to take care of, some small things. One is to make this road a 4-lane road, just so that as traffic increases, we'll need some sort of main road connecting the 2 sides of the city together. You know, I'm not sure that people are going to necessarily take this route. We have a bridge further down, but that's only connected to a lot of our water system. So I doubt people are going to use that because why would they? But if we expand this area later on, this will be the main zone that people are trying to go over. I'm having this weird time where, again, I'm trying to select a road and it's bringing up the dang brush tool to level something, like level the ground. I don't know why. I just keep basically selecting it over and over, and eventually it switches to the road. So I'm not sure why I was doing that, but just like a lot of things, problem fixed. Don't need to think about it. And then we're just going to use the Move It mod to make this road look not so randomly placed in and as a continuum of the road itself. And then I also want to, I'm selecting the road, and what I want to do is just kind of, you know, push it up a little bit. I feel like it's too close to the water. So I'm just moving it up a little bit so it goes over the river a little bit nicer. You know, it's just a preference of mine. There's no absolute need to do it. And then over here, I'm selecting this node, and I'm actually bringing it down, just so it's nice and flat, the way it should have been in the first place. So I was glad I was able to do that without too much problem. So that's done. And then while I was thinking about it, I figured, okay, let's connect over here. Just so people have, you know, it creates a circle. You know, if people want to come in one way but go out another, they don't have just the one place to choose from. You know, if something happened to the road itself, they'd be trapped. So let's just give them 2 places. And then I just line it up with residential because we have a high demand for that right now. And, you know, give people a place to live. I'm also going to use the Move It mod because this, for whatever reason, was set super high. And for whatever reason, it selects like the pillar only to move. I'm not sure why it did that, but we match it up nicely to make a nice flat bridge instead of such a weird one that was there before. So it just looks nicer, easier to travel around. So we're going to leave that area and let it do its thing. And I'm just taking this time to bulldoze a couple places that aren't doing well. But what we really need to do is level up our timber. So before I do that, I'm turning Old Town back on because the traffic's stupid and I don't want to deal with it anymore. And it wasn't helping the problem of places not having enough goods to sell or running out of goods. So why have it, you know, off anymore? If there's no benefit to it, it seems like it's only advantageous. unless you're really trying for tourism or high leisure as a commercial specialization, you don't want people just coming up in your city. So I turn it back on, and then that's just going to straight up fix problems. It just will. So I need to expand our timber industry to a larger area because I need to build a bunch of new buildings, and there's not really necessarily a lot of room in the space that we already have allotted. So I'm expanding that out, and then I'm going to delete a lot of things. A lot of things. So the first thing I'm placing down here is a nice barracks. So employees have a place to live for free, I think. I think they get to just live there for free if they're employees. So that's kind of nice. Putting in a couple of the smaller sapling farms, because that was one of the new unlockables. So just diversifying what we have, putting in a couple of those. And that'll be for that area. Another new one is the biomass pellet plant. So I think this just gives another option for the industry to sell or export. So I want to place that in as well. But what I'm going to end up doing is clear out a lot of these roads in this area. So it's just a lot of deleting stuff to have it be gone because we want this area just nice and ready. I'm noticing that on roads that we destroyed, you can see that little icon. That what that icon is indicating, hey, we're not a connected bus route. So it was a bus route that existed, but once I deleted the roads, it destroyed the line. So there's like people there waiting for the bus that are freaking out. I don't know why. You're on the ground, just walk to the street. Like the bus isn't coming. So I place a road hoping that they'll walk down it and go away, but they don't. They just stand there like idiots. So I'm going to fast forward through this part because it's me just trying to figure out how the heck to get rid of these broken routes. And I make the mistake again of going into my roads to look for the bus route option. I mean, I end up over a long period of time figuring out, no, I need to go to the transportation tab, not the road tab. It's not going to be there. So it's just me trying to figure out how the heck do I get this stupid bus route option back. Eventually I do figure it out, and hopefully I'll remember now in the future where it is, because I spend a lot of time looking for it. So here finally I get in the right tab, finally. So I'm able to get rid of the lines that are broken and get them nice and reconnected the way that they're supposed to be. So I just drag and move this guy down to the street so he's there. So that helps because at least now it's on a road instead of in some random area. And then I see a second one down here in the sapling zone that I also need to get rid of. So I drag that up here, and then boom, the route is reconnected. It's not optimal, not even close, but because I had already spent so much time just trying to figure out the basics of how it worked, I just left it because I really wanted to place this. Now, since the road's curved, it's not letting me place it down there at the bottom where I want to place it, and I'm not going to use the move it mod or mess with the road as it already exists. So here up in the corner is actually a perfect area for it to go, but what I have to do is level the area to a nice height so it has a nice even surface to place it on. So that's what I'm doing right there. So I go back to it, and hooray, we can finally place it. Done. So that's set balanced as well. So they will start manufacturing some stuff. And bam, now we're level 3. So we have even more options for our timber industry. How great is that? So I start at the beginning. Okay, we have a main building. We have the barracks. We have small trees. We have medium tree plantations, I think. We just placed a bunch of saplings. We have a sawmill. We do have a log yard to place additional logs. We don't have this dust storage, so that one I need to put down. So I go ahead and do that. And then the last 2 areas that we're putting in are a place for our residents to go to. So it makes like a nice little area for if people want to go camping, that they can come and do some overnight camping or whatever. So that's really nice. It is next to an area where they're making sawdust, so that's not so great. But here in a second, one of the things I'm going to have to do anyway is place down some trees, because if there's not enough trees close to where our buildings are at, they'll say that they don't have enough of the natural resource to really operate the way that they need to. And we leveled up. So this is a huge level up. One of the massive things that it does is unlock, besides just a ton of policy, it unlocks high density residential, commercial, and office space. So that's massive. Because I'm right in the middle of doing something, I don't spend a lot of time to sort through all this, because I just need to get some things done. It's something that I'll have to revisit and go back to. But right now, I just want to make sure that our industry, as far as it being level 2, and now it's level 3 already, that we have the things that we need for at least the level 2 industry. So again, I'm just checking the buildings, making sure everything's looking right. That's when I notice, hey, there's not enough natural resource, so I go into the forest brush and I place as much as I can, which is just enough for that area to say, okay, we have enough trees. And then I place a bunch more all over the place, just to fill it in even greater than it already was, especially in the areas where there weren't a lot of trees, because it also helps with some noise pollution too. You don't want the noise transferring too much over from one area to another. So this is looking good. I can't put a ton of trees here because we already have some things plopped down. But it's a lot better of a zone that we're looking at now than it was when we originally left it last time. It's expanded quite a bit. If I want to put down the level 3 buildings at some point, I'm going to need to expand it further, and in order to do that, I'm going to need more room. Like, I'm going to have to remove some other places to expand it, because it's pretty much fully saturated at this point with other buildings that we need to have. So I'll probably just leave it as level 2 for a while and then come back to it later in a different video down the line. So as you can see, our traffic is nice and cleared up now that the unwanted people aren't coming in here. And I'm thinking about what to do next, really. My two main goals: get football, get the timber industry up. And so since I've done those things, I'm kind of wondering, okay, so one thing, make sure that we're super in the green for our electricity. Great. I don't want that to be a problem. Water looks good. We just did industry. Nobody's sick, hardly at all. That's great. Fire safety looks fine. Besides our little area over here that we just built, everything's looking good. But when I'm looking through the buildings, I'm noticing a couple of fun things. So like one is this watch tower that I placed right in the middle of my timber industry, and then that way they can spot fires earlier, which is kind of nice. And then here on the edge, I put this really cool building, and it's a helicopter that can drop water on buildings or trees that are on fire. So they might get used. I don't think I see them in this video, but it's certainly nice to have a good response, especially if there's a forest fire, because that can spread super fast, especially with how dense our timber industry is up there. It can spread just super fast. I put down a community school because we were a little in the yellow on education. It was getting to the point where it was getting a little too much students, and we don't want to overburden our teachers or have kids that can't go to school because they're full. I also put in a university because at 7,500 you can finally unlock it. So I placed that down here at the northern part of the city, which means 2,000 of our eligible citizens can attend university now. We didn't have that option before, so that's really, really cool. I look at transportation, but I just observe it and then move on. And then finally, parks. There are no parks over here. So I guess the US Bank Stadium doesn't count as a park, which is a little crappy. It definitely should. I mean, it costs a fortune. You'd think that that people would think of it as a park, or at least a tourist attraction, something. But it doesn't give any benefit to anything. So I put a parking ramp there in the corner, so people want to drive, park, and then walk. Because they can still have like events at the stadium, you know what I mean? They can have concerts, they can have business functions, things like that. Stadiums are more often used for those purposes than for the football games themselves, because there are only 17 of them per year usually. I also put down this cool chirper balloon, who's awesome. People will come and get on this balloon and get a tour of the city. So that is pretty great. So I feel like in just a short time, the city of Des Moines kind of got a lot better. Got a lot cooler looking, more attractions. We got helicopters that can put out fires, better timber, you can camp, you can go to a football game, you can take a hot air balloon ride, and it's only available to citizens, because we have Old Town on. So if you think this city is awesome, you have to move here. You can't come visit because we don't want you here unless you live here. And just expanding a little bit, I'm just making kind of a fun little road up here because it looks like we just need it, and it just feels like it needs to be there. So I'm just making a nice road, kind of going through another connection from the north to the south, or south to the north, whichever you prefer. And once I have it placed, I'm actually going to line it up and use our new high density That's right. High density residential. Because residential is still our highest demand of the three. And since if it's high density, more people can move into it. So you get more bang for your buck, so to speak. Now, they're different types of buildings. They look more like high density. You know, they're going to build towers or condos or whatever rather than homes. But it's okay. It's just an area for them. And also flooded up with a bunch of trees because without them, the area would look kind of crappy. So they're already growing, looking good. So I'm just going to let that go. Do its thing. I don't need to mess with it. And as you can see, there's just a huge area really littered with people, again, not having enough materials. So in retrospect, again, I'm thinking that turning Old Town off might have had an effect, because at the start of the video, Old Town was on, right? So anybody could come in, and there were far less businesses that had that indication that they didn't have enough stuff, right? And then the traffic was bad, so I was like, it's fine, it's not working, because there were still some businesses that had the indication. So since then, the game's been running, and once again, people are saying, don't have enough resources, we're hating life, our businesses are doing terrible. So I'm going through the city planning and the services because I'm hoping for some other solution. I really don't know what solution is going to work, because Old Town worked for a really long time, but now it's really not wanting to. And if I turn it back off, right, the traffic gets really bad. So either I have less traffic problems, but businesses don't have enough things, or I have really bad traffic, but the businesses don't have enough things. So I have to solve for one or the other. And then I was noticing, hey, here in the policies for our industry area, we have these few options, which seem cool. The only one that I turned off was improved supervision, which helps your health, but our citizens are really healthy, so I'm not going to worry about it. But they're more productive if you turn those couple things on, although they do cost a little bit more. Now, one huge mistake I made, and you can see it happening here, although I don't notice it, is that, oh my god, all the industry is just disappearing, because what I ended up doing was redoing the whole area of Des Moines and saying it can only be timber, where it was agricultural. So now they don't have to worry about not having enough goods because they can't be there anymore. So they destroyed themselves and totally rebuilt themselves as now timber. So all our agriculture is gone. I didn't notice it. I'm pressing play and kind of going fast forward just to waste some time while I'm thinking. One of the things I thought of were, hey, we can buy a new zone. So that's exactly what I did. And I bought this area over here that's a lake where we finally get a large water source, because I do want to have fishing as our next industry. So I'm just moving a lot of the things that we had set up to better areas. So moving all the electric and a bunch of the water towers out and on the northern part of the lake here. And then I'm going to reconnect the water lines up. So then everyone gets all their water. Fantastic. And then make an electrical line here that's hugging the border of the zone. and then just coming back up to where our line originally was. So that's great. Fantastic. The next thing I'm going to do is, in a previous video, I was messing with the depth of the water because I thought that that might increase how effective our the water windmills were if the current was faster. But it didn't, and actually had the opposite effect where there was hardly any current at all. So what I'm doing is messing with the train tool, and I'm just, one, evening it out, and then secondly, spending quite a bit of time, because what I want to do is reestablish the slope that was there, right? Because it's really weakly sloped all the way down to this lake area. So I try and use the slope tool to get a nice even slope going, but I really have a hard time working it. Now I could have spent a really long time getting this slope to be nicer, over this area, but instead I get one that's kind of okay, right? It's all right, but it's not that great. I really don't like what I'm doing with the water source, so I kind of undo everything, and then I just go back to, okay, let's just kind of fill it in so it's not this weird trench. Try and slope it like a little bit, and then that's just gonna have to be good enough. And then I take some time to smooth it all out, right? To make it nice and smooth. So that is, mistake there. Oops, other way. So again, I'm trying to somehow make it a gradual decline, and I really don't have a good grasp or understanding on how to do this well yet. So I get it sorta okay, right? I mean, it's a lot better than what it was prior to this, you know what I mean? It was just a humongous vertical drop, and it looked out of place and it looked bad. So I smooth it all out to a nice area, so at least, like, hey, this looks more natural, right? This looks how water should operate. It looks a lot better than it did before. So that's good. I could probably tinker with it some more down the line in the future if I feel like I need to, but it gets the job done for now. So I'm just finishing cleaning up here for the rest of the video. Next time, I'm not sure what we'll do, but I'm sure it'll be fun and exciting and fantastic. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Thanks.